Namaste, Shafali here. Here with James Hill today. And so the Spiritual Beauty channel that we've launched, James is a very important part of that team. And at our last meeting, should I get into details of like what it is that you do in the team, or do you want to describe what your role, what you would
I would just say like one of our producers.
All right, yeah, definitely. So producer James here, we were talking at our last meeting along with Director Tal, and we came to this, we were talking about how the holidays are coming up and kind of what people go through emotionally a bit.
I think I was talking about how like you're around people who you're committed to loving, while at the same time you have this defense up that's like so detrimental to that connection. But you know, growing up, we all have these stories of like being, you know, abused or not abused. Okay, I'll cut that out. But
teased.
Yeah,
We were talking about. We were
Yeah.
giving examples just before we started recording
Yeah.
of how your brothers used to tease you, or how my brothers used to tease me.
Yeah.
You want to share?
My brothers used to say I had big ears, and then like whenever nobody was paying attention, they might say something like Dumbo. Then I'll start crying for no reason, tell my mom, and then they're looking like innocent, you know, church-going kids who would never hurt a fly. And it was just kind of like they had this power over me that they could do something to me and not get in trouble. And even at church, like we would go to church all the time growing up, and they would sing this song called I'll Fly Away. And so as they're singing it, I'll fly away, oh glory, I'll fly away in the morning. Like my brothers are looking at me while they're singing that. And so it's kind of like all they're doing is singing in church technically, but because they're just looking at me, you know, I know what they're doing and they can't get in trouble at all. And so, you know, there's still that kind of like feeling of this person is gonna try to hurt me emotionally somehow or psychologically or something. And so even though you're around this family that you really love, you still have these defenses up.
Right.
And it's like, you want to let those down so you can really just see the person as they are, and for them to love you and for you to love them, and just kind of like be okay and relaxed around each other, where it's a time where being around family is like a place of refuge where you go to recharge your batteries. But for me, especially around the holidays when everybody's together in a small room, it doesn't feel like that refuge. It feels more like a, you know, where we're kind of going through the motions to celebrate the traditions, and then, you know, make sure everybody, I guess, is okay on some level, and then we're going to go back to our lives.
So, like, what I'm definitely hearing is like you've got your guard up with your family, and your family's got their guard up.
At least that's my perception of it. But
yeah, I got it. And I can really relate. Like that's why we were laughing so much before, because like, you know, I grew up with again two brothers that really teased me, and I think being a younger sibling can be really really hard sometimes, because the older ones are perceived as like the perfect ones, and they're the ones that can get away with like all these jabs. Like, you know, I used to get told I had a mustache, and you know, it would make me cry. And like I was like self-conscious about my nose when I was young and wanted to get a nose job, and I also have a very good sense of smell. And my brother would say the nose knows. So it's like I feel your pain, like of the big ears, big nose, like when really like it's our siblings being siblings, and then
and we've done that to people too.
I think we do it when we feel pain, right? Like, and this is like what I'm hearing and what I'm gonna get into. We're gonna take a little journey, tapping into the child within. We all have a child within, and that child just wants to be loved and accepted. We all want to be loved and accepted, and it's only when that child feels pain does it want to give pain. So that's kind of what we're gonna soothe and love up the child within, so that we can recognize when we're with our family, even our parents who we see as like they should be kind of like at a certain place or have a certain role, because they're our parents, even they have children within them, you know, and it's just a matter of next time you've got your fists up with your brothers of go ahead,
Right.
call me Dumbo, or I don't know if they did, but go ahead, tease my ears, and it's I've got something back for you.
Yeah, totally.
Instead, it's gonna be tease my ears, fine. I'm gonna hear that, but because I love up my little child inside so much, I want to love yours too because I feel love. I'm coming from a place of love, and when you can do that, and so the first couple times it might be hey, that's weird. You're responding back with love. How cheesy is that? I've been told I'm very cheesy at times because I like to be loving, but then it when somebody says something from their mouth, no matter what somebody might be showing with the mask that they're wearing of how they're feeling about it, there internally could be another feeling. And that's the reason we're going into this guided meditation is to go deeper past the masks. So that you can relate to feelings of people and recognize the child within. And we're going to connect with your child within, my child within. And for those of you who are watching, you can definitely join in to connect with the child within.
All right.
All right?
Let's do it.
All right, great. So, James, you're going to sit up nice and tall so that you really feel rooted in your seat and you feel that your weight is evenly distributed. And take a moment, make adjustments if something doesn't feel comfortable, sitting cross-legged on the ground, especially for a former NFL player, might be a little hard at times. So just make any adjustments you need to make so that you really feel that you can get rooted into your seat. And then reach the crown of your head up towards the ceiling so that it feels like your chin is parallel to the ground and that you actually feel space coming in between your spinal column. So you're growing taller, you're creating more space. Maybe you very gently and subtly roll your shoulders back and drop them down away from your ears. And then deepen your breath. Take a deep breath in, let your belly expand. And then as you exhale, you push your core towards your spine, like the belly button comes in, squeezing out any stagnant air. Each inhale, you take deeper breath. Maybe you hear and feel the breath passing through the back of the throat, called Ujjayi breathing, activating Ujjayi breathing. And as you continue your deep breathing, you bring your inner gaze up towards your third eye. This is known as the point of intuition, and it is in between the eyebrows, slightly above and slightly behind. So just gazing upward will bring you to a good place. For some of you, maybe you start to see light, and James, if you do, just embrace that. Continuing to breathe deep, gaze or drishti is steady towards your third eye. And it's important that we are focused on the third eye because as we go through the thoughts that we're going to be reviewing, it's important to see from this place and not just what you see on the surface. It's a deeper vision. As you continue to breathe deep, visualize yourself in a beautiful scene in nature. And you can pick the spot. And you're sitting peaceful and quiet, maybe a bit contemplative, reflective, because you're giving yourself this space. And you're going to bring a younger James into the picture as well. the child within, and it's the child is at the age where you feel like you got the most punches from your brothers, the most teasing, or you felt the most hurt, the more pain. That's where I want you to connect to. How old were you then? And bring forth that child. So it may be a 5-year-old James, it may be 12 years old, whatever age, you're in pain. And you're not feeling loved and accepted, and you're not feeling affection, perhaps. And then you're gonna sit close to the younger version of yourself and recognize what this younger self needs. Do they need a hug? Do they need kind words? Do they need quality time? Do they just want to be heard? Or do they just want to be seen? Really take a moment to absorb what it is the inner child needs and wants. And as you crystallize that need, you then, as your present self, give your inner child that. In essence, you are filling your own void, giving yourself the love you need that truly only you can fill. Take your time. You might get emotional, and that's okay. And as you may feel strong waves of emotion, you take deep breaths. Ride those waves. Embrace it. Fear is like a ghost, and the best thing that we can do is walk right through it. Be gentle. Give yourself time and space to give yourself what it is that you need to feel whole, complete, loved and accepted so much until you feel like this is what you want to be, because you're full, you're satiated, you're feeling good, you're feeling loved. And it's time to let your younger self know that you're going to go for now, but whenever the child within needs you, you guys can connect again. So perhaps you embrace in any way that feels good. You feel good. The child within feels good. And you slowly start to let yourself come back. Perhaps you start to wiggle your fingers and your toes. Maybe you start to just bring a little movement into the body, the head, neck, shoulders, just to let your body know that you're about to awaken from this deep space of being in between, a deep meditative space, this beautiful guided journey. And then as you're ready, ever so slowly, first looking down at the ground, you open your eyes and then you raise your gaze.
Thank you.
You're welcome. How are you feeling?
I'm I'm a little choked up.
And that's okay. It's okay it's a deep place where we went, and there can be some very deep-seated emotions that have never really been acknowledged. And to acknowledge them is very powerful. Because especially as guys, especially as big guys, it's normal to suppress, right? Men are told to be a man, and when you do that, you really bury things very deep. So you're connecting with something that was very deep, and this is beautiful to embrace it. This is walking through that ghost.
I want to make sure that 6-year-old kid is okay.
Yeah. So you're 6. Where did you go?
I had a brother who just, of my 4 older brothers, he's the one that was just like, I feel like always trying to, make that boy feel bad. Like, it was just constant.
I can really relate, James,
Yeah.
with my older brother. I can. But now what we need to do to take this to the next level is recognize that that treatment is coming from their inner child's pain.
Yeah.
So now, as you see your brother over the holidays, and he gives you that jab, you're going to pause for a moment, take a deep breath, give your 6-year-old James a big hug, and you're going to say, "We've got this."
Right.
And you're going to go over and give your brother a hug.
All right. I was kind of like leaning towards making sure I have that 6-year-old's back now.
Definitely.
Like, obviously bullying is a hot topic these days. And like, you can still stand up to a bully without being a bully yourself, right? But it comes from a place of, that's not acceptable behavior kind of thing. It's, because, sometimes, as a bully just lets the person just becomes accustomed to being victimized.
We don't recognize our own strength because of limitations we may have had in our emotional intelligence from when we're younger. So what were you thinking to do? Do you feel comfortable going to your brother and giving him a hug? And also, I have a second question that kind of is related. Is what did your 6-year-old need? Was it a hug? Was it words? Was it?
It was the words, loved and accepted. Just like you are loved and accepted. Even though he's being mean right now, or he's being who he's being, he's poking fun at you, just like occasionally sometimes you'll do to other people. You're not perfect. It's not like a wrong or right thing. It's that you can relate to it. Right? You do it to other people too.
So perhaps then you give that to your brother, whether it's out loud, in some way that he could hear it, or in your mind when he gives you those jabs, or even before he gives you those jabs. You might even be triggered at the sight of him.
Or I might even find it funny, like his jabs. Like if I'm seeing it through his eyes, it's like, you are such a big brother right now. Like, that's kind of like, instead of taking it to a place of like being abused, but like seeing it through that 8-year-old's eyes. That's a really great suggestion, and something I'm going to apply to with my family. I like that. So first of all, I want to thank James for his openness and authenticity and just willingness to share, because I'm certain that some of you out there watching might feel the same way as him, and for somebody to be so open really can inspire us on our own path for growth and healing. And some of the things I want to reiterate from today in regards to that growth and healing are to connect with your inner child and to love them up, and
to come from a place of love when approaching family members this holiday season, to recognize that they too have a child within that just wants to be loved and accepted. So if you feel so inclined, connect with me. Let's get a discussion going, whether it's on this topic or questions you may have for which you're looking for spiritual guidance. Or just let us know what you think. We're just on the beginning of this journey of spiritual beauty, and we want you to stay on it with us. So do let us know what you think so we can continue to grow as well. I am Shefali, aka Spiritual Beauty, and the message for today is give love. Did you get that in the camera? Give love. Namaste.